needs. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to get this straightened out here. Here it is. Oh, not Roosevelt Square deal. Describe what humanistic psychology is. Explain Maslow's hierarchy. There you go. That video should have helped you out. Can't see the screen. Okay. Thank you. There we go. There you go. All right, so for the bell ringers, I'm going to make a Dropbox for Friday, okay? So it's just going to be like an assignment, and there's nothing going to be like posted there, okay? It's just going to be bell ringers for this week, okay? And then when you're done with your bell ringers, just attach it, take a screenshot, and put it in the assignment, okay, and turn that in, all right? I think that will work better than just emailing, all right? For those of you in here, I'll just come around and check it. It's easy that way, but for those at home, I'm going to create a Dropbox for you so you can just submit it that way. Same with vocab from here on out. Okay. All right, so let's go over this real quick. So Maslow's hierarchy, humanistic psychology. Okay, we know that this is trying to fit our basic needs. Okay, This is how we're going to try to move through our daily life, right? And balance the spiritual and physiological needs. Okay. I think the video did a great job of explaining that. For everybody, it's not the same. Okay. We might really enjoy more basic needs than physiological needs or psychological needs. Okay. And we might be more spiritual than we focus on our basic needs. Okay. And our material life. Right. For many of us, I think we can maybe find ourselves maybe this imbalance rather than this perfect pyramid. Okay. Does that make sense, guys? Okay. So starting off at the bottom here, so these basic needs. Okay, so these are the first two, right? The basic needs. What do we got? What do we got? Rooster, what's the first one here at the bottom? Oh, it's like I got to dig through this here. What's the first, the base of the pyramid here?
Physiological.
Yep, physiological needs. Good job. Okay, what's involved with physiological needs again?
Food, shelter.
Yeah, good job. So basic things that we need to live. Okay, so food, water, okay, rest. I think it said shelter yesterday, which kind of falls into the next one, right? The next step. All right, what's the next basic need that we talked about yesterday? So we're moving up the pyramid. Katie? Safety, right? Good job, safety. How we feel comfortable in our own environment, right? And how we go home and feel safe. Okay. Good job. Good job. So any type of form of security. So basic needs, that's already taken care of. And like the video stated, this is our material life. Okay, with the capitalist economy he was describing a lot right after World War II. With the big businesses that were forming and people wanting to buy cars and televisions and radios. Even today with iPhones and different types of items like that. The new Avengers game. Yeah, material life. Okay, I love it. All right, we love it. All right, moving up the ladder, though. What else do we have? What's the next step? Kinsley, go ahead.
Love and belonging.
Yeah, good job. Love and belonging. Good, love and belonging. So this is like our esteem issues, right? So this is how we're trying to build relationships, build friendships with people. Okay, and form these relationships. But we first need to accomplish these two, I guess you could say, building blocks before we move on to building relationships with people. Build relationships with people and build friendships. Okay, good, good job. All right, the next step, moving up. Go ahead, Maria. Yeah, self-esteem, right? Once we build these relationships, we can then focus on our hobbies, things that we find interest in. Okay, it might be fishing, hiking, all right, sports, playing video games, whatever it might be. Okay, self-esteem. We need to love ourselves. Okay, good. And final last one, what are we always trying to reach here? What are we trying to reach? Go ahead, Nina.
Self-actualization.
Yeah, good job. Self-actualization. Good. Good work. And finally, this kind of falls under what needs? What are the needs we talked about? I know the top one we just kind of left as self-actualization, but what's the next basis for this pyramid? Kinsley?
Psychological needs.
Yeah, psychological needs. Psychological needs. All right, I think yesterday I just stopped here because once we get to self-actualization, we reached our full peak, right? Our full potential. Okay. And psychological needs, that's really spiritual, right? That's how we maybe use religion with our daily lives to guide us and to help us with our moral characteristics and our love and belonging, our feelings, our emotions, okay, things like that. All right, is there any questions on Maslow's hierarchy needs? We good? All right, sounds good. So we went over this pretty extensively. So where do you think you're going to find this or see this again? Where do you think, Rooster? The test, right? Yeah, it's probably going to be on that test, if I had to guess. All right, good, good. So we're moving on today, finishing the notes. I froze it. There it is. So we already talked about the behavioral approach, so we're going to move on here. Okay. Last approach I wanted to talk about, the sociocultural view. And this is pretty self-explanatory. All right. So how our social life, how our culture may shape how we interact with people, our characteristics, our hobbies, things that we find for entertainment. Maybe it's our learning, okay, our understanding of the world. It's all different. We know that. We know that. Write that up later. So with our culture, it shapes people differently, especially throughout the world. Okay, we can compare the people in the United States to people in, I don't know, in parts of Africa. Obviously, education, academics, they might be a little bit different. There's a case study with a group of, I'm trying to think where it's at. I think it was Uganda. But anyway, there's a tribe in Africa that they couldn't really figure out and fix shapes together. So when your basic architectural designs like rectangles, squares, triangles, okay, many of these people of this native tribe within Africa, they had no idea, how to use these shapes to design buildings, okay, and to design different types of things that we see every day, like roadways, okay, parallel lines. Okay, buildings, like I said, with square, rectangles, you name it. Okay, a lot of these people in this tribe, they just they couldn't grasp the concept of these shapes, okay, and how this architecture is designed in our culture, as we know them as buildings, and how we build certain things. Okay, they're more focused on their round mounds, okay, and different types of, not a teepee, but almost just like a mound, like a shape, like a shelter that they just use with mud and sticks and things like that. And when they're trying, or when they're presented different types of illusions, they couldn't understand the difference between many of them because they weren't presented these shapes in their daily life, their daily culture. Does that make sense, guys? So this cultural aspect really shapes who we are and our understanding of the world and understanding of academics, education, okay, and our forms of entertainment. Maybe our personalities, okay? Our personalities and how we react to certain things and different types of situations. For us, I know for me anyway, when I went to visit my friend in Philadelphia, I was getting so angry driving down the street. Okay, this was just something that was just not too far away, an hour and a half, 2 hours away. And this city and this way of life is totally different than what I'm used to. And here I am shaking my hand out the window and looking to fight someone when this is an everyday lifestyle for these people, a fast pace of life, going down the street at like Mach 10 and just trying to get to one place and taking more risks jumping in and out of lanes. For me, I couldn't take it. I was like, this is unbelievable. I'm stopping. I'm just going to get an Uber and just forget about it, or Lyft, whatever one you guys use. I don't know. And this was just a cultural clash for me. And we're in the United States, right? We're in the same state, just 2 hours away, where this cultural clash is just already just a shock to me. Okay. And a lot of the forms of entertainment in the city just was something that I liked and enjoyed, but it's something I never really thought of enjoying at the time. So social cultural view, not only from different countries or different places throughout the world, but even in our own state, even in just Harrisburg, it's a faster pace of life and different types of entertainments and beliefs, I guess you could say. All right, levels of analysis, real quick, guys. You don't have to write all this down. The levels of analysis is just perspectives, approaches to psychology. We talked about a lot of them, right? Oh, yeah, we did. Okay, we talked about a lot of approaches and perspectives. And it's to the point where one really can't answer a scenario or a case study fully. Okay, we can use multiple different perspectives and approaches to understand a certain case study, a certain situation, a certain scenario. We can apply a lot of these approaches and perspectives to just one single event. Okay, how can we maybe solve this issue? Well, there's many different approaches and perspectives that you can use to try to figure out, a person's issues or problems with, with a disorder or a problem that they're facing in their everyday life. All right, I know I have a school shooter here. I mean, with shooters, there's many different approaches that you can use to analyze why this person was triggered to do such an act of violence. Okay, you can maybe go to a social cultural view. Maybe it's something that he was, that he was presented to in his culture at home, like with a more violent lifestyle, maybe using guns in every day and just kind of making light of gun use. Okay, maybe it's a behavioral approach that we can maybe analyze this person's violence. Maybe he was punished, okay, negatively in his upbringing, okay, that caused him to act violently to others. Maybe it's a developmental view, right? We can use the developmental view. Over the stages of his life, he was treated and mistreated by his family members or friends. Okay, like I said, there's different perspectives and approaches that you could use to apply in order to solve some of these issues with certain case studies. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah. Okay. I used to have this professor in college. He goes, "Is it clear? Is it clear?" He was from a different country, but I shouldn't make fun of him. But he was just like the way he said, "Is it clear? Is it clear?" Like, "Yep, we're good, Dr. Magistry." He's like, "All right, good." That's funny. He's such a good guy. And he never saw deer before. It was funny. So when he came to Williamsport, Lycoming, he never saw like a deer. So like when he hit a deer, he goes, "This I couldn't believe it. This beast just jumped out in front of me, and I hit it." I'm like, "A beast?" And he goes, "Yeah, this brown thing." I'm like, "A deer?" "Yeah, I think that's what it was." That's funny. Oh, it's funny. Hey, there's a social cultural clash, right? Yeah. Whenever I'm at my house, my friends come from Philadelphia, and they see deer in the yard. They're just like, "Oh my God, look at that. Look at that." I'm like, "Oh, it's a deer. Do you believe it? That's crazy. Look at that deer over there." So I just stop and just make fun of them for a little bit. All right, so psychology's blindness. Okay, this is just resembling a lot of the approaches of famous psychologists that we studied and we went over. Obviously, they all came from one real perspective. Okay, they all have very similar ideas. Okay, a lot of these approaches, these perspectives, they are delivered from white Caucasians, from westernized, modernized society, from Europe, okay, from the United States. They all have very similar aspects, similar approaches and perspectives to psychology. Right? Is that the only approach and perspectives we can use? No, no. There's many different ideas from Asian cultures that use psychology and African cultures that use psychology, the ancient Egyptians, right? But from what we're learning right now, and what you'll probably learn a lot in college, or if you advance your studies, you're going to learn a lot of these perspectives and approaches that were typically westernized thinking, modernized thinking. Okay, we got to be more open-minded than just understanding these concepts, but these are the ones we're presented to. These are the ones that really went through the scientific method and understanding and proving it using reasoning and rationale. Okay. All right, this is just a chart in your PowerPoint to help you out understand these certain perspectives. So you can look at that on your own in the PowerPoint. And then changes in psychology. All right, changes. So again, psychology is ever changing. All right, we talked about career paths, occupations that you guys delivered and went over in class, and we can always find certain scenarios where we can apply new theories, new approaches. Okay, we can apply these new types of experiments that are just being worked on now, and maybe just try to apply that to help and benefit people. Okay, like I said, I went over just a certain amount of approaches and perspectives. There's many more that are even being created today as we speak. All right. So it just goes to show that psychology is constantly changing. It's a newer social science, a newer study, and it's being really broadened right now, and being involved in schools, education, business, okay, healthcare systems, right, all media, all throughout the world. Okay, so if you're looking to maybe gain a career path or occupation in the future, psychology definitely has a lot of career paths to choose from. Okay, it's a very good option to go towards when you're moving forward in your future. All right, is there any questions, guys? All right, I know I skimmed through it pretty quick. All right, so I like you guys to work on this activity. I'll bring it up and go over it with you. And that's it for the notes. Look at that. Look at that. So I'm thinking maybe next week, early next week for exam. How about we do Tuesday? Lily, what do you mean? I was going to say Monday, but you have a test that day. Oh, since Lily has a test that day, we can't. No, I'm just kidding. We'll think about it. Well, I don't know. We'll see. So classwork. We're going down to chapter 1, approaches to psychology, case study. Okay. So I'd like you guys to work on this. It's a description of a case study, Billy. All right. Read about Billy. And then you're going to go through these approaches and answer these questions depending on the approach and perspective. So use your notes with this, okay? There's multiple different approaches and perspectives that you can use to analyze this case study. All right, this just goes to show the level of analysis that can be used in psych. All right, not one scenario can be labeled and described by one approach. There's multiple perspectives that we can use. And it's good to open our mind a little bit. All right. Is there any questions on what you got to do? You good? All right, make sure you look over your notes, your vocab. That's going to help you out with this assignment. And that's all I got. Make sure it's done for tomorrow.